How you doing, guys? Listen, real quick. I gotta make a holster, but I gotta talk to you for a second. As you know, I don't have a large sub count. I appreciate everybody that I have because most of my videos, I have a hard time watching them when I'm putting them on the air. However, I do appreciate it. Now, out of the small amount that I do have, if I remember correctly, and don't get upset if I forget exactly who it is, but I believe there's 4, maybe 5 of yous that actually trained under me. A couple of times, actually, a few of yous have, which I appreciate, by the way. And for those of you who have actually trained under me, you know, on a few cases, a lot of the guys that were there were using their own weapon and a number of different types of weapons, but the majority of them were Glocks. Now, if you look at majority and averages and so on and so forth, if you're looking at the numbers, naturally, the more of something that's there, the more failures you may have on that particular brand. You know, so at one time, and you guys can correct me if you were there, if I was wrong, but I think we had 27 of you there at one time, and I also had a coach with me to make sure that everybody was doing what they had to do. And if I remember correctly, there was like 18 of them were Glocks, 19s, 17s, you know, the earlier generations. And then there was a couple of 6 hours, 92Fs, a couple of Beretta 92Fs. If I remember right, there was a couple of the Stavas, the 99s. I believe this is CZ, Charlie Zebra 99. I don't remember if it was Easy, I'm sorry, Echo. And it was, you know, that was I'm not going to go through all that was there. However, most of the guys with the Glocks had a very hard time qualifying due to the failures of their Glocks. Now, a lot of times it's the failure of the person as well, so I don't want to blame the Glock or any particular gun totally. Now, with that being said, you guys know also that I am not a big believer in Glock myself. This is a Glock that I had purchased. I believe it was like 2000, I don't even know, 2000, well, let me see, we've been here, I bought about 6 years ago. And the day that I bought this, I actually went up to buy a 6-hour P226 40 caliber with rail. Now, I had to buy that particular gun, and I like that gun, so I'm glad I did. It cost me almost $1,200, but I needed that gun for a particular assignment that I was going to be on for some time. And I had brought a friend with me when I bought that gun. Now, the friend that I had brought with me at that time is a big Glock guy. Now, when I went to the police academy in New Jersey, I had to go to the state police academy there a number of times, actually. There was back in '92 at first, Glocks were relatively still new, a few years, well, maybe 5, 6 years, but back in '92, and there were 32 of us there, if I remember correctly, and I was a student, because I was there because I had to be certified. I'm certifiable, but in this case I had to be certified. I had my old 92F. And at that time, it probably had close to 100,000 rounds on it, somewhere around there. Never replacing a part. It's just a nice gun. I swear by them. But more than half had Glocks. To make a long story short, by the time we were done that week, there was 9 students there that were there with their Glocks that had failed the certification because of their Glock, and they had to go back. Now luckily they had another opening coming up there because these guys were from out of state, as I was, so we're paying for hotel rooms as well. At this point they had another class coming up the week after, so if these guys wanted to stay there another week, you know, and then another week to take the training again, only the firearm portion of it, they were welcome to do so, and it was up to them if they wanted to either do some more firing with their Glock to try to figure out what was wrong with it at a private range someplace, or go to a shop and buy another gun. So I don't know what happened after that because I didn't stay, I didn't have to. I'm going to pat myself on the back and say I qualified the very first day. So even though I did, you still have to stay the week. But I didn't have any stress. It was more fun at the time. So, but anyway, because of that, they lost. Now, going back to when I bought this. When I bought the SIG, I had this gentleman with me, a friend of mine, and he had said, Buzz, you gotta buy the Glock Tactical 35. He says, I own one. He says, it's the best gun I've ever owned. He says, he goes to a friend's place that has a small pond in the yard, and he's telling me how they throw tennis balls in the pond, and with the Glock, you know, he's right there, bang, 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 and he loves this thing. So I said to myself, well, you know what? Back in '92, they had a lot of problems with them at the range, at the certification that I was at. But maybe they've changed. So I will buy one. $660, a little over at the time. And that was without the light. So at that point I said, okay, I take this gun with the SIG to the range. And Joey's with me. Because when I bought the 2 guns, they gave me 400 rounds of ammunition at the time. Now, Sig Sauer gives me rebates. Glock doesn't want no nothing. But anyway, Sig Sauer gives me rebates. Well, Glock will actually sell it to me cheaper, but they won't refund anything if I was to buy it. And if you're going to buy it from Glock with their discount, it can take up to 120 days to get one. So, but anyway, we go to range, and I started having problems with this. Now, I'm not going to go through all the problems I had. I've done videos on that, I believe. But this gun has gone back to Glock 3 times. And again, one of the times, that's when they told me that you should never, regardless if it fires it or not, never put lead ammunition through a Glock. Well, at the time, I had about 40,000 rounds of 9mm lead, or a 40 rather, and I wasn't about not to use it. You know, this is crazy. And besides, I don't want a gun that I have to pick and choose what ammo I can use, especially if ammo becomes scarce. Then they said, well, you can change out the barrel, blah, 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 but that avoids the warranty, you know. Well, a lot of hip-hop, you know what I mean? So I don't care. Make a long story short, a lot of problems with it. And not too long ago, a Glock representative was in my area, and I happened to have bumped into him at the coffee shop right next door to a gun shop, and we were in there having coffee, a friend of mine and myself, and he had the shirt on and the hat, and I said, hey, Glock, yeah, blah, blah, blah. The range is only approximately, my club is approximately 4 or 5 minutes away. That's if we get a lot of lights. So I talked him into going to the range. He had problems with it, so it wasn't me, and he's seen it. So he says to me at that point, well, you know what, I'm going to take notes of this. He took some pictures of this. He wrote down the serial number. He actually did a little filming on a cell phone. And he said, well, I'm going to get back to you. So he made everything look good. You know, he's going to do what he can. Well, it's been, I don't know how long now, and he's never gotten back to me. So, but therefore, my feelings on Glock aren't very good. I won't carry this for defensive purposes, because I don't know when they're not, even with another barrel in it. Right now everything's back to stock, even the spring, the guide rod and spring. But at that point I won't carry this gun because I can't trust it. I do use it, you know, sometimes at the range, hoping that someday it'll work. But even then, I don't know. Now, I've got thousands of rounds through this thing, so it's not that it, you know, it's new, it has to be broken or whatever the case may be. The magazines have been checked and gone through, so it's an issue. And apparently Glock can't figure it out either. And it's not me, seeing that somebody else had the problem, and not just myself or him, but the commander with the Coast Guards, who had coffee with, he had problems with it. So it's an ongoing issue. But anyway, I'm going to try to make a holster for it anyway, because I feel like making another holster. I've got some clear Holstex. I got to find out what the difference is between Holstex, Kydex, and carbon fiber. Because they do have a Kydex with a carbon fiber pattern. Now I have carbon fiber because it even came with a special sheet as to how to work with it and the temperatures and things, where it was different from the Kydex. So, but anyway, that's kind of where I'm going with this. And like I said, you guys that know the problems that I've been having, you guys that've been to some of these classes with me, taking the same class, and you guys that have taken a number of classes from me, even in other states, because at one time I was in California for 6 weeks, I think it was, but I used to get around. And at that point, you kind of understand. So I apologize if I don't remember exactly who you guys were, but I can't remember who I talk to every day anyway. So, yeah. So other than that, that's where I'm at. So I'm going to get to this in a few minutes, but I just wanted to kind of check in and let you know what's going on and why I feel I do the way about Glock. And am I going to give him a chance and buy another one? You know, I keep saying yes, but I keep saying, why do I want to take that chance when I can buy something else like a 6-saw or an FN? I'm a big FN guy. I like the FNH product. I think I got 4, maybe 5 of them, and I will be buying 2 more, possibly 3 more. But at that point, you know, that's where I'm at. So instead of keeping you guys any longer, there we go.